I'm Gail Andersen. I'm here with my husband Kirby. Blessed to have him on with me today. Been doing that a little bit more often. Good morning, Susie. Good to see you. It's a beautiful day in Tulsa today, but it is freezing. Winter hit, but we'll be back to summer tomorrow, so kind of crazy. And in the Andersen home, we've been up since very early this morning, taking my son to the airport and little things like that, but it is a beautiful day. Now, a few days ago, I talked a little bit about parenting your teenager. Talked about several things, but I'm always trying to keep it not too long. But I definitely wanted my husband's input on this. He has so many great things that he shares as he has taught as a pastor over so many years. What is it, 35, 37?
Yeah.
Yes, lots of years as a pastor. So I am going to give him a chance here just to expound upon some of those principles and hopefully give you some new ideas of what to do, good morning, in parenting your teenager. I will say, if you want to share this broadcast with others, go ahead and swipe to the right. And if you like what we're talking about, give us some hearts. Just tap on your screen. Also, if you know somebody who is struggling with any teen issues, please tell them about our broadcast. They can find us on YouTube. And I'm going to give it to you, honey.
Okay, well, in a way, I'm going to kind of approach this, I think, a little different way, because so many of you probably don't even have teenagers yet,
Right.
but you may be fearing that time. And I think that's kind of the common anticipation, is that teenage years are just going to be horrible, and they don't have to be.
And that was definitely how I felt about it.
Yeah, and you know, the good news is yeah, they're going to have their bumps, mainly because it is a season of transition, and so you know, you are going to have to be mindful of a few things and learn a number of skills, and you know, that's bigger than what we're going to cover here in a few minutes. But I guess what I'd like to do is just to share one major principle and a couple of techniques that will help you, perhaps even right now, especially even if you don't even have teenagers yet.
That is really the key. So our stories blog, and I don't know your first name, so write it in if you get a chance, just said she has a preteen and she is wanting to be on the offense.
Well,
so now is the time to start thinking about this and establishing those principles, habits in your family.
Well, at least for one, this is going to be for you today, because really that's what I want to talk about, is how to prepare for the teenage years now. And probably the most important principle that I'm not so sure I understood it at the time we were going through it, but now that having been through it and while we were going through it, I think it became...
5 times.
Yeah, I think it became evident to me, is understanding that it's not just a transitional time for our kids, but it's a transition for us as parents. And it's not always that easy, even though it might be easy to understand. Because for the first number of years, let's just even say up through at least 10 years, just to be general, you're going to be mainly focusing on controlling your kids. It's more of an authoritarian kind of thing. You're telling your kids what to do. You're telling them what to wear, telling them when to be ready, all those things. So,
and if you've ever seen the kind of diagram that goes like this, you start out, this is your teaching line, and this is your control. So you start out on this side. I should have done it the other way for you guys. When they're younger, very little teaching and more controlling. And then it crosses over, and as they're teens, you're doing much more teaching and much less controlling.
So the point is that you're moving from control to what I would call coaching. And understanding that transition is an important one, and as Gail just outlined, it doesn't just come up to a certain age and all of a sudden, okay, I stop controlling today and I start coaching. That's a gradual process. But rather than get into all the intricacies of that, what that requires is your effectiveness of being able to speak into your son's or your daughter's life as a coach, not only for, you know, the time that they're a teenager, but later on, is going to depend on the relational equity that you can build up ahead of time. And that's why you don't come screeching into your teenage years and just saying, okay, I'm just going to start getting all this together. Man, the more that you can be working on that for the years ahead of that, the better, and the smoother that transition. And there were a couple of things that we found that probably a lot of different things that made that transition better than maybe in some others' experience. One of which is a weekly habit that I know Gail has talked about before, I blogged about, and that is this weekly habit that we did in our home was what we called special time. And it was really just one-on-one with a child, at least with one child each week. And in our family, again, having 5 kids, it was easy for them to get lost in all of that.
And that, I would say, is probably the top thing in a lot of our parenting that gave us the most results from just sewing into that child, listening to that child, supporting that child, and having that individual time to where we could listen to them, answer their questions, and just show we loved them even more.
And it doesn't mean we're not spending time with them the rest of the time, but it was a dedicated one-on-one time with just them. Yeah. And it could be something simple. It could just be running errands, and we don't need to go into all of that. The most important thing is just that it was time to talk and time for us just to hang and to just build that relationship. In our case, we did that, let's say for me, I would do that with just one child a week. That means that they would be on a rotating basis every 5 weeks. And so you say, well, man, that's not much. It builds up over the course of years, and it makes a huge difference.
And as you always say, it's the little things you do over and over and over again that are going to give you the biggest results.
That's exactly right. So it's just a consistency. But there is one other thing that we have found very helpful with us, and that we encourage other parents to do in this transitional time, is when the child starts getting close to around 10 years old, and that may not be a magic number, it was just kind of the place for us around their 10th birthday, is we had several milestone events that when they reached a certain age, we would do certain things, have certain talks, those kinds of things. But one of the biggest was what we called the preteen trip. And this was something that we got from Dr. James Dobson many, many years ago, and kind of put our own little spin on it, own little flavor.
And the whole idea of 10 years old is you're hitting them before they hit adolescence. That's why we came up with 10.
You're catching them ahead of the time.
Right.
Because after changes start coming, emotional changes, hormonal changes, they start spreading their wings a little bit. Their opinions start to, go a little bit different from maybe what you would like them to be. You're wanting to seize the time, and we always said that around 10 years old, you still have a lot of credibility, and there's a great relationship, and so we start talking at that time about this, introducing this idea of becoming their life coach. And what we would do is we would just do an overnighter. If it was a son, it would be me who would take the son. If it was a daughter, Gail would take a daughter.
And you normally went camping.
And we would go camping.
Went to a hotel.
And but it was just a simple thing where we would go just spend an extended amount of time together doing something fun, but it was laced, interwoven with a lot of conversation. And we kind of introduced a number of subjects during that time. We would talk about the changes that are going to start to come, and it wasn't in the context of a fearful thing, it was an exciting thing. But you're going to start growing up, and in the next couple of years you're going to start seeing changes physically. What does that mean? You're going to start feeling different feelings. What does that mean? You're going to go through different highs, different lows for no reason. What do those things mean? And the thing was, and in this conversation, it wasn't so much that we were trying to solve all of that or give them the answers, but just to impress upon them, listen, we've been through this, and there is nobody better equipped in your life than me to be your life coach. And I'm going to start giving you more responsibility as you show more responsibility and build trustworthiness. And we want to keep these open lines of communication. And when you were a little kid, I told you more to do. That's going to start changing. And as we continue to move through this, we're going to give you more latitude, helping you to learn how to make these great decisions. Well, that's very exciting.
And this whole thing, telling them then and then having it begin happening in their life gives mom and dad credibility
Yeah.
in the first place.
So again,
oh, you're right. It does seem weird.
So to come back and to say, listen, there's going to come a time when you're going to just think that I'm stupid, or that I am your enemy, and that I don't want to let you do anything. I just want you to remember this, that when you feel that, remember that I told you that day was coming, and remember I also told you I am not your enemy.
Right.
I
Now,
am for
Lisa,
you.
is this making sense to you with your preteen? I don't know how old he or she is, but can you see this as something that you would start doing that would be beneficial for you with your teenager?
So, again, that whole thing was, it's really just setting them up like you do have credibility. And this is, when we come into those times, then I'm going to be able to share this with you. And like Gail said, it gives you a lot of credibility. And that gets the ball rolling. And so, they might come off this thing, nothing's really changed, but within 6 months, 10 months, 18 months, 2 years, you continue to keep that going, say, but I remember, remember we talked about this. I know you're feeling a little self-conscious right now. You're feeling like nobody likes you, and you're just feeling like you can't do anything right. Remember I told you there's going to be days that you're going to wake up just feeling in this cloud for no reason? Okay, that's what you're going through right now. And let me just tell you, it's not that bad. So let me tell you what I went through. And let me tell you some things that we can help with. And the most important thing is, I'm glad you talked to me. Stay close with me. We're going to get through this. And just knowing that somebody is there for you, loves you enough, and also has the experience to be able to help you navigate that, that's setting the tone. Now you're building even relational equity for when they leave the home. Absolutely. And they get out on their own, and they're going to still want to come back. Not so much that you can tell them what to do. I don't tell my kids what to do anymore. They can do what they want to do. But they do want to know what I think. And this is where all of that begins.
It's real interesting. On that preteen trip, we also start the first of many Birds and Bees talks. And just giving them just enough information to get them by. And as their understanding changes over the years, then they're asking more questions and we're giving more information. And I use that as an opportunity. It's funny, my twins decided to do this together, which was cool. They did not each want to go on their own. So we had a wonderful time when they were 10. But every year on their birthday then, 11, 12, 13, 14, we would have just an afternoon where we would just get away. We'd go down to the lake or something and sit around and we would just talk. And we would pick up on a lot of those subjects and talk more birds and bees stuff, and it was just great. And I think something special we did at 16, and it's escaping my mind. I think we may have done another overnight when they were 16.
Well, and at 13 was a big one. True. As well. And that's for another discussion. Let me just pick up on that, on the birds and the bees though too. One of the things that we have noticed is that those conversations tend to need to come a little earlier today. Unfortunately, just because of media and exposure, the kids are dealing with more of these issues. And so we're finding more and more parents who are having to address some of those issues. But all we would say is, fine, do it when the question comes up. Only share as much information as what they're asking for at that time. And then whatever conversations you have had by the time you get to that so-called preteen trip, you're going to build upon that. But the bigger context is to give them the information that things are going to start changing and make it more of an exciting time. Don't need to be fearful about it. Need there to be open communication. If you have questions about these things, you can talk to me about anything, and let's just keep talking. And that's really the goal.
Which is awesome. And even though it was very fearful for me hitting their teenage years, and it was difficult with the first one, it got easier and easier, and we felt like, these hints that we picked up helped even more with each consecutive child. Also, I believe that the result of everything that was done during those teenage years really helped us now in the relationship we have with our kids.
Oh, huge.
I mean, it is amazing. Some of our boys will be calling us before they call their wives to celebrate something. They'll call us and ask us stuff. They will call us in the middle of the night if they have a sick child and want us to be praying or want some help, suggestions. And we love it that we're the first ones they call. I mean, that says a lot right there. Because I don't remember doing that too much with my parents. They were still parenting when I was married. So,
well, the most important thing is you just want to just build on everything that you have as soon as you can. And for those of you who may have teenagers right now, start where you can. And just to build on those things like that special time on a regular basis that you're having with them. It's all about communication, building that trust level that you are there for them, that you want the best for them, and that you're shifting here from this control to coaching. And that's quite a process at varying degrees, but it all spins around the trust and the communication, open communication. Keep them coming back.
Very much so. Well, thanks for joining us today. I think I will hop on tomorrow and just give you a little bit more information about that special time, some other ideas. And check us out at our blog, which is kirbyandersen.com. The link is in the profile. Also, all the scopes I've done, 100 some odd scopes, are on YouTube. Thank you very much. They're on YouTube under Mentoring Moments for Moms. And please go ahead and share our broadcast with other people. Let them know what we're doing. I'm trying to plan on getting my husband on here with me once a week. We're trying to do that Wednesday or Thursday. And so far, we're doing pretty good. But he has a lot to share, probably much more than me. But it is fun being able to share and to affect all of you. And it's just great to have you here listening. So have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.